Chapter 22. Nicholas and Edward followed Oliver back through the common. They dodged people walking their dogs, tourists following the Freedom Trail, and children playing baseball in the park. Oliver moved at the pace of a city dweller. Nicholas and Edward skipped along, trying to keep up with him. They stopped at a circle of cobblestones pressed into the road.
"That circle marks the site of a battle during the Revolution," Oliver said. "You can travel down almost any street in the city and learn something about history."
I have a friend who said history is stories about people, not just wars and big things, Nicholas said. She says each one of us, no matter how small, plays a part in history.
"It's always the big folks who get talked about in history, isn't it?" Oliver said.
I don't know what my part in history is going to be, Nicholas said.
"That's the thing of it, Nicholas. You can never tell how you will fit into history."
My family goes quite far back in history, Edward said. They have been around for centuries. Oh, the stories I could tell you.
"I'm sure you have quite a history," Oliver said.
The three animals walked downhill toward a cluster of buildings. Everyone was busy. Shoppers wandered in and out of stores. People ate food as they walked. Flocks of pigeons ruffled around the rough stone sidewalks looking for lunch.
"They sell every kind of food here in Quincy Market," Oliver said. "We'll have no trouble finding some tasty tidbits here."
They paused under a tree growing near the market. An old man addressed some tourists.
"Good day to you, kind folk," the man said, bowing low. "Welcome to our fair city."
Nicholas watched the man from the shadows of a tree root.
"That man is pretending to be Benjamin Franklin," Oliver said. "He walks around the city, talking to people about our country's history."
People don't mind that? Nicholas asked.
"No, I think people like to pretend along with him," Oliver said.
You see, I was born in this city, Franklin was saying to the tourists. I spent my youth here. My father wanted me to apprentice with him as a candle and soap maker, but I had other ideas. I have seen Philadelphia, London, and Paris, but I hold a special place for Boston. Ordinary people like Paul Revere and Abigail Adams made a difference in our history, Franklin went on. Why, even our animals are interested in history, he said, pointing to Nicholas, Edward, and Oliver. They backed away into the shadows under the tree. The crowd laughed. A boy holding a bag of popcorn in one hand and wearing a tri-cornered hat crouched down. He spread a few kernels of popped corn on the ground. Edward sniffed from a distance. His stomach rumbled. He shuffled his feet. He twitched his tail. He couldn't help himself. Edward grabbed some popcorn. He stuffed his cheeks as fast as he could. Whomp! Went the hat right over Edward. A little girl let go of her balloon in surprise and began to cry. Ben Franklin said, "Now see here, young man." The boy's mother tugged at the boy's shirt. Pigeons lifted up in a cloud of feathers and raced away. The boy fell over, pulling his hat off Edward. Nicholas scurried over the boy, grabbed Edward, and followed Oliver down the sidewalk away from the marketplace. After they left the noise behind, Ben Franklin said, "Those animals have started a bit of a revolution of their own."
"Come on," Oliver said. "Let's go to the Haymarket. It's not so crowded, and there's plenty of fresh food for lunch."
At the outdoor farmers market, they found all sorts of fresh vegetables. Everyone was busy buying or selling. Nicholas had bits of an apple. Edward ate some string beans. Oliver nibbled corn on the cob. "It is certainly nice to feel full again," Edward said. He leaned back against a sack of potatoes. "This meal reminds me of Thanksgiving back home. I always eat too much." You know, Nicholas, I really should be getting home. Oliver, how far is it to the train?
Not far. If you walk along the waterfront, you will be at the train station in no time. Look for the brick building with a big clock and a stone eagle on top. I have to get back to Cambridge. I have to teach my class soon. The young squirrels won't wait long if I'm not there on time. A train will be leaving the station this afternoon that will take you to Plymouth, Oliver said. That's as far south as the trains run. From Plymouth, you will have to find your own way to West Tisbury.
Oliver called over his shoulder as he ran back along the waterfront.
Take care of each other and watch out for the train conductors.
Nicholas and Edward set off, passing the aquarium, the children's museum, and a fancy hotel. At last they approached a big building with a clock on the outside.
Ah, yes, the old colony, Edward said. That is my home. I'm afraid you will have to go on without me from there, Nicholas. You can find your way to West Tisbury on your own. I am sure of it.
Nicholas had forgotten that Edward would leave him someday. He had grown to like the chipmunk and felt sad that they wouldn't always travel together. You will come with me to Plymouth, won't you, Edward? Maybe you can help me find a way to travel south after Plymouth.
Of course I will. Edward sniffled a little. I always liked going to Plymouth at Thanksgiving time.
He had grown fond of Nicholas, too.
Now, let's find that train.